Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight we are going to do some mods that you need to do to your Axial SCX6. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Keith here, hanging out on the bench with the giveaway truck tonight. Just going over a few plans with Jesse. We want to get this thing out the door, get it to you guys right away. So this weekend coming up, we've promised ourselves we're going to get this rear cage done, get the front bumper done, get these side skirts done, and we want to do the draw like in the next 15 days or so. So stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. You're going to see a lot of shorts and a lot of stuff pushing this guy out. Now, a couple of our friends have stepped up with a few more things to throw away into the giveaway draw. As you know from our last video, I told you our friends at CalRC had asked to give away our ProNoob CalRC pit mat. You'll get that as it stands with the ProNoob decaling and all the dirt and stuff on there. We're going to clean it up a bit more, but it's a little bit stained. It's got some rust on it and stuff like that from weathering and such, but you know, that's just part of it. They've also sent out a tube of Utter Butter, the nice new cream or the light colored stuff, their newest compound. Very nice stuff. It's a super waterproof grease. It's just great stuff. We love it. We use it in all our stuff. And so you get that, the pit mat, and our friend Jared at Aren't You Scale, we'll put a link to it in the video, sent us this really nice homemade pull pal. I believe it's called a pull pal. Goes in on the end of the winch, it digs down into the ground. Very nice if you don't want to sit there and hold in your winch line too, so you can hook it up behind some rocks. It can cantilever. You can even pull on this side of it, whichever is going to work for you. Plus, you can also hook another line onto this shackle, so if it buries down into the ground, you can actually winch him back up out of the ground. Because if you've ever had to bury a tire or something to get your full-size vehicle out, you know how much fun it is getting that tire back if it gets buried. So it's nice to have a line to pull it out. Very cool design. You guys will get that in there. He threw in a couple of tree loop lines to wrap around a tree. Tree savers, I believe they're called. Yeah, another one here with a nice little choke loop. Pretty cool stuff. But anyway, you guys will get that in with the truck. I'm sure in the next little while there'll be some more stuff added into the giveaway. So now that's what we're rocking with. Remember guys, all you have to do is like, subscribe, share the video, and just make sure you're subscribed. Pretty much all you got to do. We're looking at about 9,000 people in the draws, so it should be pretty easy. The odds are pretty good. Once this one is done, we can start on the next one. Jesse and I own so many trucks, it's just fun to kind of build, start giving back to you guys. So anyhow, stay tuned. We'll see you on the next one. Okay guys, first up, before we make another mess on this fabulous messy bench that we try to keep clean for you guys, we have our new latest pit mat in from CalRC. As you guys know, we're doing the giveaway truck, and this mat is actually going to go out with the truck. So let's get rid of that guy and get him boxed up to go to the new guys, and let's check out the new mat. Anyhow guys, we got a brand new pit mat out from CalRC. We also got these sweet little magnetic parts trays. These are great for going to the racetrack. You could throw your whole little mini Z or whatever on one of these, or just have a couple for your parts. Great at the track if you don't want to bring the big mat out, so we like to use those on there. Perfect for that stuff. But anyhow, you guys might notice the new mat, care and instruction sheet, pretty nice. You'll notice the new mat actually is shiny. So it has a whiteboard type finish to it now. So that should help the staining from the tires. You'll notice our old mat with the matte finish picked up, like we'd leave a truck on it for a couple days, come back, lift it up, and there'd be the typical yellow staining. Doesn't really matter on a pit mat, but this is gonna look better on film. So all we need to do now is throw our ProNoob graphics on there and get it done. This one came with the American Eagle on top, looks fantastic. Liking the graphic on there. Beautiful mat. Check them out. I believe this is the extra large mat. And hit up the website, check out the retailing. I'm not 100% sure. Pricing for us is different in Canada. Okay guys, so make sure you check out calrc.com. Pick yourself up a new fancy magnetic screw catcher pit mat. Grab yourself a couple trays for the pit. And also check out their whole lines of degreasers, cleaners, silicone protectants, the cowhide RC wipes, and they've also got the new parts and chassis washer. They're calling that the Moo Clean Parts and Chassis Concentrate. We have the large spray bottles already, basically the same stuff, but this will make a gallon of Super Duty and a 2.5 gallons of regular duty. Check that out, guys. You mix your own at home, save some money on that, and shipping also too with a smaller bottle. Anything else, Jesse?
They awesome.
They awesome. Let's build. Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight on the bench we've got Mike Honcho himself in person. Michael, say hi. Okay guys, anyhow, enough of that baloney. Tonight we are going to do some mods that need to be done to your Axial Honcho before you go out and run it. We've already had our guy out for the run, and we noticed he's a little bit noisy and stuff like that, which our other trucks aren't. And as you know, our other trucks, we've taken out the goop that they decided to try to lubricate the gears and the axles with, that silicone, which just doesn't work. It's got no moly to it. It's a silicone oil. It's more for locking diffs or something, so it's got to go. Anyhow, so we're going to rip that apart. We're also going to shim the diffs. I know we just did a video on it for the Jeeps, but unfortunately a lot of people won't watch those videos if they're buying a Honcho, so we got to do it again for the Honcho guys. So anyhow, let's get in there, get it done. Maybe we can do it better this time. Who knows? Okay guys, you want to start with the Honcho, take the body off. On the back, you've got these nice big fat shoulder pin kind of screws with the hinging kind of pin there, or shoulder pin if you would, 2.5 millimeter. We're going to yard those out. Now working on the Honcho versus the Jeep is that much easier. Okay guys, little tip that we found working on the other ones: if you don't want to poke holes or trash up your pit mat, your magnetic pit mat like the ones we have from ProNoobRC here, take a couple microfibers and just roll them up. There is a lot of weight that sits down upside down. When these trucks are upside down, they're 375 pounds or something like that. Or is it 4,000? I can't remember. 4,000? Yeah, 4,000 pounds. 4,700 pounds. So go like that. You can save your mat, keep that looking nice and purty. Anyhow, we got to pull these tires off. We do have a little upgrade in that department. You guys probably know what's going on there anyhow, but let's get these guys opened up. Okay guys, I have the wheels off the truck, and let's start with the rear axle. The quickest, easiest way to do it is just completely remove it from the truck. Jesse's gonna go find the shims. Now, all these screws here are the same size, so don't worry about mixing those up. Okay guys, so we got the rear axle out of the truck. I don't know if you've just seen there as I'm rolling around, but we've noticed this on all the Axial trucks, that the rear housing has a bit of a curve to it. This is not a problem on the 10 scales, but we noticed on all the 6 scales, there's quite a bit of curve. Off center coming out, it's almost probably 3/16 of an inch on both sides, so it's pretty stout. Not really cool. We are going to look at going to aluminum rear axle for sure, the rear, just to get that straightened out. I thought it was just a flawed axle for my other truck, so when I stripped out the gear set, I had ordered a new axle housing to find out that it was actually worse than the housing that I had as replacement. So I'm not sure why nobody's bringing that up. I don't know if maybe just guys haven't noticed, but it's kind of one part that we wish was just a little bit better. So anyhow, let's get the gunk out and get this guy looking good, rolling smooth. So you're basically going to have to strip it right down so you can pull out the axle shaft, so we can pull out the ring and pinion. That's one thing with having the curve. The gear mesh actually feels like when you pull the axle out, the gear loosens up because it's not getting that torque. Like, that's quite a bit. So I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, but it's pretty stout. Gives you that toe in like a race buggy. So I don't know. There seems to be some kind of foreign substance in here. Definitely a lot less than the 6s. Remember, the 6s were just packed, but it's still this clear.
I don't see very much on the gear itself.
Oh no, there's barely any in there. I don't know what this is. It's whatever it is. It's just from the little bit of runtime we have on it. It's all broken up and kind of turned to like a jelly, and it's coming off the gears. It feels more sticky than it does. I think it's silicone. I'm pretty sure this is really heavy silicone, but there's like nothing in the teeth of the gears and stuff. And what this is going to do, especially with having a plastic axle housing, what can start to happen is as the pinion starts to go into the ring, it starts to, under load, it will start to want to climb up on the edges of the gear, and without lubrication, they can actually climb up and start to break the teeth off. So also extreme heavy wear. So this would be pretty easy to clean. There's not a lot in here, so we're just going to pretty much wipe that out. It's not saturated like the other ones were. And yeah, we'll throw our Cow RC grease in there. First off, we'll shim it. This one actually came with a shim already installed, so we will go back and test that out. I will do that dry, and then we'll lube it. I know last video we talked about putting in the lube and we didn't show it, so we'll make sure we show it this time, because there was a few questions about why would you guys remove all the grease and run without. Okay, so we'll put one shim on the shaft. That's what they had in there originally. One shim will go on there before the bearing. Now the shims we're using, guys, are your Arma AR709052 washer, 12 by 15.5 by 0.02 thickness. So you're gonna want to get that in there. And yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. They did a good job. That was shimmed out. Our 6s were not, so we had to go through and add them, but I think Axial or Horizon might have picked up that it was an issue and decided to tackle it before getting it out to us, so thank you for that, guys. That is awesome. Now we just need to get this axle figured out, which they did on the LMT, right? LMT had a bogus axle in it, and they handled that right away. They sent us out a couple of new pairs of axles to get that squared away, so again, good job. Okay, guys, we're gonna load that up with our Cow RC Products Utter Butter. This is the new formula. You will actually get a tube of this with the giveaway build if you do win that. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. As long as you're subscribed before the draw date, you'll be entered. Okay, so quick thing. We are going into the cold winter months around here. I'm going to load them up like that. Nothing crazy. Work it in nice and slow. Just get a nice coverage. Now this is a very nice light grease. We're going to see how it holds up in the wintertime. When I'm talking wintertime in Canada, where Jesse and I live, work, play, have fun, procreate, all that good stuff, it gets like minus 40 for 2-3 months at a time. It's nasty cold. Minus 25 to 40 for 2-3 months. So if we go outside with an automotive grease that's packed in there pretty heavy, the trucks will actually slow down until the grease actually locks them up, because the grease pretty much freeze and stick. So we're not going to go crazy heavy. That's already a pretty good amount on there. Good enough to get the job done for now. We will just keep adding and cleaning up as we like to do every season change anyway. Well, twice a year anyway. So once a year. Okay, once a year. I'm not going to lie. Change out all the fluids, but yeah, anyhow, good to go on that. If we had to shim it, we would have put the shim on this side to push this gear tighter to this gear. So they already had that done. If I put one in, it's going to be too tight. Sounds good, looks good. You never want it so it's ratcheting and clicking, and no, it will not wear in on its own. If you hear that from somebody else on YouTube, just move on from that channel. They're not your friend. I'm sure if the axle was straight, everything would be a little bit quieter and run a little bit better, but that's something we could deal with when we go into the aluminum axles. Remember guys, long screw like that, spinning it with the drill, you can heat it up and actually melt the threads out. So I'm gonna go in about 7/8 of the way, stop there, and then kind of work my way back around. Feel the screws, they get pretty warm just running that in. It's a lot of threads, so we don't want to overheat them and pull the plastic out. Now, these 4 screws at the bottom don't need to be crazy tight. You need it just to keep the gap shut and to hold the cover on. You can squish it down and squish out this plastic, and then it changes. Oh man, is that very nice how it's all together? Runs really nice that it's all together now. That feels really good, especially with that udder butter in there. Smooth as can be from what it was like when we pulled it out. That's wicked. Oh, look at that. Look at that spin on its own. Ooh, ooh. Fancy. Yeah, very happy with that, guys. Now, we're going to go through and just turn these down by hand. You don't want to over tight. We can maybe even turn this guy all the way to 0 setting. And yeah, that should work. There you go. There we go. It's happy. It's happy. Oh yeah, that's so nice. Okay, so anyhow, rinse, repeat the front axle. I cheated, took out the rear axle to show you guys because it's less screwing around. We don't got the pan art, all that stuff to do. You guys can handle doing the front on your own. Use a quality grease. Tips if you're in a cold climate. Don't use a whole bunch of automotive grease. Go with a quality RC grease, something, and even like a winter grease or something like that if you are in like Alaska or Canada where we are, or even northern US. I know you guys share the same weather system as the line doesn't separate the clouds. So. But yeah, I guess we can yard that tranny out. It's a bit extra work. We're gonna pull that out right now. We'll do that one real quick for you. Same process, guys. We're going to drain out whatever they put in there. Just check, make sure everything's good and tight. I did find on the Honcho a couple strip screws in the side of the skid plate on the one side, so that's kind of a bummer. So we did order a new skid plate. We could have very easily called Horizon Hobby, dealt with it on warranty, but I'd rather just order it, get it picked up. We also picked up ordered a clear body from our friends at Limited RC. We are going to paint this thing black and gold, or black and orange, somewhere around there, because we did pick up some wheels and tires and such with it. Actually, I lied. We're going to keep the Falcon Wild Peaks. They're a fantastic looking tire, but we're going to change out the wheels and the foams to the classic SCX6 Pro line ones. Okay guys, we have the front axle done. It turned out it did not need to be shimmed. It actually came shimmed, so we'll give Axial Adventure some credit for that, or the boys at Horizon, or whoever's slapping this thing together. Anyhow, they actually did a great job on that. We swapped out their mystery grease for some Cow RC grease, and their blah blah blah, same thing over and over, good to go. Enough of that. We need to pull out the motor trans. The best way to do it is to pop out your motor terminals. Okay, so they have this, I think it's called a Farad isolator, isometric particle collector, gatherer, collector.
Collider of some sorts.
That's it, collider. Hey now.
Halon collection.
Ooh-wee. Okay, so anyway, unplug your motor, find your sensor wire, be very delicate, talk softly when you're dealing with it. You could break it just by yelling at it, so very emotional piece. We want to get this guy apart. It only goes back together one way, it comes apart just one way. Oh yeah, wow. And then we just need to unhook the servo wire for the shift servo. It's easier just to pull it out and put it back in after, instead of undoing that and messing with all that. Nice to see. Copious amounts of Loctite were used on that. That is very nice to see. So as Mr. Jesse just pointed out, it is 1, 2, 3 screws.
Yeah, that guy just comes out second.
And then, oh, look, we got the mystery jelly.
Ooh, let's see. It's really close to your face. Don't get any on you. Oh, girl. Oh. How are we gonna get it out?
I don't even know what it is. And it smells. It smells so bad. It literally smells like a dentist office being painted. Is that a good?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's very accurate.
Okay, this guy's like the size of a airline size pop can. So we're gonna have to pull out this top cross brace to snug him out of there. Just gives us more room anyway for the wiring and such. These two guys point forward, just remember that for putting it back in. It's nice that the ESC actually bolts down in underneath here. If you guys want to take a look, I don't know if you've seen under the hood of one, but the ESC screws down in there on both sides. Nice little smart Firma ESC. Cool thing about the ESC and these guys with the Firma is Jesse and I with our DX rugged radios, DX5 rugged radios. With the latest firmware update on them, you can actually go into your Firma programming card right on your radio and do all the changes on the trail. But we found these trucks in like low range don't even really need drag brake because the gearing is so low and the motor's so big, it will just drag brake on its own without any actual settings. Perfect. So yeah, the motor plate inside is just a cast jalopy. It's got all the different holes with the markings for the different gear ratio on it. So if you want to change the pinion, go faster, slower, all that good stuff. So that's kind of cool. Okay, disconnect these drive shafts and it's ready to slide on out. The nice thing about pulling out this, like you can go through and check, like this guy didn't get no Loctite. That would have became a problem at some point out on the trail. And this one, again, no Loctite on it. So those are things that need to be Loctite. These guys get a lot of, with the drive shaft, there's a lot of play and a lot of slopping, and this is going to fall out without any Loctite. So that's why we said these are mods that you guys need to do to your trucks before you take them out. Make sure they're not going to fall apart on you and you'll be cursing Axial. It took my gerb! Okay, 4 more 2.5 millimeter screws in the bottom. I believe they are all the same length, but you do want to watch out. Make sure they in fact are. Support it underneath that last screw so you don't rip the threads out. Yeah, so all 4. I think 4 by 12 or something like that. 4 by 15 maybe. This guy, we can wiggle, drop him out. He's good to go. Okay guys, I'll start cleaning this crap out. You obviously, you want to start here. Do we have a slipper issue with yours because the grease was in the slipper? Yes.
The slipper was loose, so we just tightened it, but then we found out that there was all that
grease in there,
so we took it out.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to open this up all the way around, check the slipper, take it apart, clean it, because for some reason they had greased the slipper on our other trucks, so we need to check this one. Okay guys, so we're gonna want to open this up starting in this end, work our way back pretty much. In here we want to get to the slipper clutch. In Jesse's unit we had found it was slipping going on the trail. We opened it up, found out the slipper unit was actually loose and the mystery sauce was in between the slipper pads, which will never get you a good bite. So we were able to clean it out with some alcohol, clean it all up, swap out to good grease, good to go. So. Okay guys, we got the cover off. We're going to remove the spur so we can check underneath. Plus the spur needs to come off so we can work our way down into the gearbox as we're going to go in this way and then build back up as we clean all this wonderful stuff out. So anyhow, 8mm, let's knock that guy off. If you need, take a couple pictures with your cell phone or just stack everything up the way it comes off. Okay, so other brands will have a main lock pin so you can actually put a pin through the shaft back here. We're going to have to go onto your output shaft down there. It shouldn't be that crazy tight. It is good to see that it is tight because like we said, oh Jesus, Jesse's was loose and we had to strip it apart right out of the box. We couldn't have any fun. So it's good to see the changes happening as production goes along with these. So yeah, zero complaints about the truck. Absolutely love these things. The Axial SCX6 is just a game changer. There's no more like going out, no, I'm going to make a trail here and do this. You just point, shoot, climb, have some fun. They are just so much fun. These are just basic things you guys should be doing to any RC before you head out, hit the trail with it, just to make sure the reliability is going to be there for you. This little guy is cupped to the inside, this washer, so let's just make sure we put him with this guy over here. We'll put the plate underneath once we get him off. Just keep that whole theme running so you know which way everything goes, right? Okay, simple enough. Slipper pad looks good. I'm going to give it a wipe with some alcohol. Okay, looks good. I got my gloves on, they're greasy, so I'm not going to touch the surface. We are just going to clean those before we go back in and assemble it. We'll clean that off. We'll also clean our slipper pad plates, which I just touched with the greasy glove, and the backing plate too. That's all going to be taken care of and cleaned with alcohol as it goes back in. So, and this spacer behind, that should come off. That spacer does come off, and just make sure you do pluck that out. Look at it, put that guy right on the bottom, boom, 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 boom. Make sure you pluck that out before you lose it, and you go put it back together and everything's grinding and you're like, man, those ProNoob guys screwed us. Okay, so next step, guys, let's open up this. Once again, watch your screw sizes, make sure they should be all the same size. We call that lean manufacturing in the industry. We don't want to have 55 different size screws for one transmission. Name of the game, make money, is buy everything in bulk, right? So that's a big transmission. Some big gears in there. I actually haven't opened up one of these. Jesse has done both of our other trucks. So I did the diffs and wheels on the other one. This time around, Jesse's doing the wheels on this one. We'll show you those when they're done. And I'm doing the transmission and the diff. So, okay, best bet, what I'm realizing now is I'm going to close up this half. And then I'm going to open up this side. So then I can turn this guy over, take off this half, take off that half, and then just clean the gears and put it back together without having to dump everything out and then putting it all back together. Okay, servo out, all the screws on the back side. 2 are longer than the other 8. Simple dimple. Pull that guy off. And we can slide this guy. Okay, so on top the big gear, because it won't fit the other half of the transmission housing off, you've got this really weird C-clip. It's not an E-clip, it's definitely a C-clip. Definitely a strange little C-clip. A little different. Doesn't get that normal little tang on the middle like the E-clips, I guess, have. And then there, we can remove the big gear. That's got the dogs in the back for the 2-speed, pretty cool. Now we see down inside Mr. Clockwork here, your shift function here and here, boom, 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 for whichever gear you're going to be in there. Pretty cool. Main spur gear input goes down to that guy selects which gear, the shaft, all that good stuff. Anyhow, so when you open this up, you got to be careful. This little idler gear and pin like to jump out, so it's pretty simple. You can see this is your main shaft. Turns this right now, I believe it is in first gear. Yeah, and then when you push it up like this guy moves up, shifts, grabs the next gear, which becomes a drive. Pretty cool. Anyhow, enough of that. Let's start cleaning this up. So if you guys are wondering why we are not using our fantastic Cow RC Moo Clean industrial grade cleaner and degreaser, because for some reason this grease stuff, when you spray it with that, actually kind of turns into like rubbery balls and then becomes even a bigger mess to deal with. So the best is just to remove as much as you can with a rag, and then need be you can go and wipe the residue off after. Now we're just going to take out the bulk of this, replace it with a whole bunch of heavy, good quality grease, and hopefully push that out. So good enough for now. Wipe out the bulk. Like I said, we're going to do a few changes. Once every time we kind of swamp it out and soak it, we'll go in there and change out the grease a few times on it. and that will help just eventually wash out all of that stuff. You want to make sure you get some in between this fork here for the shifting, even on the dogs, doesn't hurt. We've got the mid half of our case cleaned out, all that mystery stuff removed from there, majority of it anyway. We'll grease that guy before we button up the other half. We have to just remember to put on this E-clip. See that big E-clip, you guys, best way to put these guys in. Lay them in, push it with your nail best you can. Get a good pair of pliers that have a flat edge. These are Crescent brand, these are about $60 in Canada. Get it in all the way. Now you need to take a tool and spin it, make sure it's in the groove, it didn't pop out. Spin in the groove, then you know she's good to go. So simple enough. That clip would probably be very hard to find. Well, actually, I would have one of those in stock because I have thousands and thousands of dollars of junk. But that would be very difficult to find. Okay, there we go. All in. We got the grease up in the gears. Give it an extra little shot over here. It's a little excessive, but we're going to get into the transmission, less of the diffs. The diffs are going to spend more time underwater in this truck and swamping around, so we'll be in there every once in a while kind of getting her cleaned up. I've got the drill set on a super low torque setting. I can run them in until it ratchets, and then I'll go back and tighten them all up by hand manually to make sure everything is snug. That's 0.0 torque on that setting. So, okay guys, next step, we like to get our hands clean, get the rubber gloves off which carry the contaminants. We've got this clean, but now we need to start assembling this. We go from the bottom of our stack. We have that washer. It was non-handed, it was just a spacer. We want to get that in there. Then we have our, holy crap, already bent and warped pressure plate. See it? Yeah, it's convex. So we're going to want to, wow, that shock is bent already. Clean this out of it. Using our Clean industrial parts cleaner, degreaser. Stuff's great. Good for removing nitro off electrical components, such like that. It's just fantastic. We love it. So clean that up. We can throw that guy in there. Bigga bada boom. He done. Pull this off. Back side of this pad. Okay, so wash that. I like to get a sandpaper chunk and just give it a nice little scratch so you know it's going to be a clean, fresh surface on the top and it's nice and smooth. You should actually sand the inside of your pressure pad too, so that way you get rid of any burrs like I just found in the middle there, which doesn't really matter, but you want to do that in a circular motion. Oh, these edges are horrible on it, so this is actually good. Okay, nice and clean. Give that a scuff up. Pressure pad, we gave that a nice scuffing and cleaning on that side. We're going to want to do the same thing on this side. And then, of course, the outside plate. That side, give it another quick wipe and clean with our alcohol soaked rag here. Get all the crap that we just sanded off. It's nice and good. Hear that? Squeaky clean. This guy, remember, he had the hole in the middle, so that goes over the shaft. So as the plate wears, that can drop down onto it. We need to pin the shaft. Preferably make sure your rig is in low gear, forward. Don't have this resting against your shifter when you crank it in, just hold it with your hand. Just want to make sure everything sounds good, it's butter. Okay guys, so another little thing with these larger transmissions, you are going to need to kind of tighten them up a little bit more than you're used to and what we recommend on the smaller ones, but you've noticed that big box is just shafts and bearings on the end, so a little bit of extra pressure on the ends isn't going to throw too many things off. It's not going to pinch her down, but we've noticed that they start to leak along this bottom edge and such like that. So we're going to tighten it up just to help close that gap up a little bit more. They could have used another screw right in the middle here just to help lock that down, but of course they needed the room for the gears and such. So, and also keep your center of gravity low. There's always a trade-off or something. So just before we finish it off, we want to make sure we go around by hand, make sure these are all to a nice, happy torque setting there. What's the torque setting? I don't know. Just make sure it's nice. Look at the gap. Make sure it's not squishing the plastic out, but it's nice and closed. You know what I mean? Simple enough. Okay, guys, so basically we just need to throw the cover back on and drop the motor in. We normally do not run any grease or lubricant in the area that we have a slipper pad, because the grease will break down into an oil, the oil will get into the slipper pad, and it will ruin your day. So we do have it locked down pretty tight. It should not be an issue. We did sand them and scuff them and clean them up with alcohol. It should be good bite. But we might just put a little bit of grease in. It just kind of, like it's never been a thing on the other ones. I don't know why Axial is now choosing to do it. So I think we're going to actually just stick to our guns. What's on there, we're going to leave just a light glazing so the metal on metal wears nicely, like we normally would do, like a small glazing on them, but that's it. So it is sealed. It shouldn't get too much dust in, but the problem with greasing gears like this that are open or not sealed well is they load up with dust. It sticks to the grease, it dries it out, and it becomes a problem. So it's actually just easier to run no lube on those gears. Nothing builds up, and it just keeps on going and just wearing at a normal rate. So, okay, so I'm going to slap this guy back together, and then we're going to move on to the wheels and tires. Okay, guys, a few things have transpired in the last few seconds in the video. It is now next week in reality, and we are ripping the front axle out. We just finished doing the rear, and we picked up some of these fancy Power Hobbies aluminum axles. I don't know if I want to say billet. I don't know if they're billet or if they're cast and then machined up. I have a funny feeling that they're cast and then just cleaned up with the machine, which is fine. It's still going to be sturdy. And the bonuses, they come with the fancy diff covers, your C-hubs and your knuckles and all that jazz for $320 Canadian for both axles, front and rear. So it's kind of a no-brainer. It fixes that curved rear axle like we were just talking about couple seconds ago in the video, so we got that tucked away. Now these guys were silver, but we don't like silver axles. That's a bright kind of ugly silver, and we painted it, we primered it, we sanded it with 600 grit. It's been a long time getting all the little cracks and everywhere, so it's nice and strong. You can hold up the scratching and take it a beating. We painted it with a matte black, gave it like 3-4 coats of matte black, and then we hit it with a semi-gloss clear coat. The clear coat is going to help seal all that crap in under the clear. The clear can take a good strong beating before it starts scratching down through the black and taking off aluminum. Powder coating with all the tolerances that we have is kind of out of the question. Anodizing, yes, but because we're not in America, and all the good powder coats like Bateman's custom RC powder coating would be the choice where we would go to get it done. To ship 2 of these guys down to the States to get it done by him and get it shipped back up here, our government's going to hit us with the duty and the taxes probably like 7 times on it. They don't like us when we do that kind of stuff. So they're here. We just best keep them in the country so we don't have to pay for them again in value. It would be $150 for us to ship these back and forth, and it just sucks. So, so we painted them. They look good. Now these are a carbon copy of the stock axle. So the stock axle only has one screw in the top that supports this whole knuckle, and you end up with this little bit of sloppy play action here, right? Yeah, you can see that there, just see, look at boop, boop, right here. You see it moving. Might be hard to see on the camera, but you get a little bit of play down there, a little more on this side, see, and that's going to be amplified onto here with the aluminum. So what we've done is added just a couple pieces of aluminum muffler tape or whatever they call it, just aluminum ducting tape or whatever, aluminum tape. Simple enough. Now this one side on the right actually was pretty decent, so we put one piece on the bottom, and on the left or the driver's side or whatever we put one piece on the bottom, another one on top. And now with putting the paint on and all the clear coat and stuff, it's going to be a tight fit. So we're actually going to have to kind of line them up and just tap them on. We'll add a little bit of oil so it slides over everything and gets a nice tight fit. Make sure you have all your parts in there. You want to do that once. So anyhow, I just want to give you guys an update on why this truck now has aluminum axles underneath it. You might also notice we got the ProLine faces on there, but stay tuned in a few seconds. We'll reveal that all at the end of the video. Okay guys, we just finished hanging up those Power Hobby axles. We painted them, they look fantastic. The silver's cool, but the black looks 1,000 times better. Powder coating, painting, anything you do is going to take a beating. Even anodizing is going to get scratched off. So paint's the cheapest option. Beat the crap out of them, repaint them, looks good. Very happy with the fitment. Everything works good. We swapped out to the black steel hardware wherever we could, because this is painted, but the stainless hardware they're using is complete trash. Like this screw and one of the regular screws that are in the truck are like half the weight. These are just like tin screws. Don't use them, get them, just use your stock hardware. It's all there when you're swapping them. So the only ones you have to reuse are these ones, because they use a different style bushing, and the ones that hold on your diff cover there, which is fine. It's just kind of holding things on, good to go. We re-shimmed these as we put them in, and it was the exact same thing. We pretty much just dropped it in, checked the mesh, it was good, took it out, checked it again out, need a little bit more, put it back in, it was good. So they are a very, very good copy to the factory ones. Now, we're putting the wheels on with these ProLine faces on these Wild Peak tires. Looks fantastic. We have these on both of Jesse and our other, or Jesse and mine, what are they, jails? Yeah, jails, Jeep jails. And they were great, but this rubber on the Wild Peak is thinner, and we were tightening up the front corner, holding the wheel and cranking the socket, and I was spinning the rim on the tire. So now we need to rip these apart and come up with a solution to resolve that. I'm hoping that we can just sand down the back of this evenly on a flat surface, get a piece of glass, some sandpaper, stick it on there and sand those out. If that doesn't work, we might have to throw these on the lathe and remove a bit of the ends of the brass, but I really don't want to do that, or not the brass, but the aluminum, but I really don't want to do that. So let's quit talking about it, open that up, and trying to deal with this problem, as everything was going smooth and everything's garbage. Okay guys, I just took all the screws out of the back of the bead lock on these fancy ProLine wheels. Now when you buy the ProLine wheel, you get the face only, but you reuse your stock back half of the wheel. I should have noticed when we put them together that there's actually no bite here. When I took the screws out, it didn't pop open like it should have. It's just completely all the way down. So there's actually no physical bite on the tire there. So let's see what's going on. What we can do. Okay guys, so obviously this will be an easier fix. I was worried if these were kind of stepped down, but they're just all smooth. These 6 points here need to be made lower. I'm going to go half the height of these and start with that. That should give me enough bite. Heck, we might even be able to just, yeah. I'm gonna go take these to the belt sander outside. You can put it on the belt sander, touch it. You don't want to just hold it one way because you'll end up burning it funny. Turn it, rotate it, you guys. Do it a couple times. I'm gonna go spin this belt sander. If you don't have a belt sander, you can use a flat piece of sandpaper on a flat surface, and the trick is you want to go like 1, 2, 3, and then you want to rotate the piece and then change your direction. Do figure eights, stop, rotate, do figure eights, go this way for a bit, go this way, stop, rotate. Don't just keep going, and that way it will keep it nice and even and flat for you all the way around. If you keep going one way, you're going to end up like this, because we're all broken humans and can't do things like a machine. So the best is just to keep changing it up, and just, I think odds work in your favor in that. Okay, I'm gonna go check this out. We'll see you back in 10 seconds. Okay, if you don't have a belt sander, God bless your soul. We have to take off pretty much all of these schnubbins, which is fine. We don't breathe through this part of the wheel anyway. We burn holes through the outside. We, as you guys seen, we do in the other video. We have an old broken driver. We've ground to a point, heated it up with a torch. I burned 4 holes through the outside of the tire. Let that cool in there so it makes a nice little bungus. and seems to keep it from ripping and working. But anyhow, yeah, you're gonna have to drop the crap out of this to tighten that pinch up. The screws are gonna be a little bit long, but there is enough room in the bottom of the hole where the threads stop, and it's a soft enough material where you can kind of crank a little bit more out of them in there. You're gonna need a '90-degree Allen wrench or a driver that locks so you can turn them. You will not get enough grip to cut the thread with a driver. So if you have the means to shorten these screws, or if you have some shorter screws, take care of that. I believe these are 4x15. So if you got some 4x10s even, you might be able to make that work. You can probably order some, but I don't have enough to do all of them on hand. That's 24 screws. I'll have maybe 18. So hopefully this will work. We'll find out as soon as we get it onto the truck in a couple seconds here, and we'll give it a test again and see if it wants to spin. I didn't do anything different. I didn't add no sealant or anything. I didn't wipe it with alcohol or nothing. I just slapped them together box stock. Good idea just to wash the tires before you throw them on, but these are already pre-mounted. They weren't brand new out of the bag. These were already pre-mounted. I know at the factory they didn't wash them. So it's something that helps. Okay, so this is the last one. Jesse and I did all the other ones off camera there. So I'll show you what I mean. We got all the screws in. I'm hitting on my clutch, top of 6, but look at, I can still probably get almost a half turn out of the drill. I'm not cranking it, but you know, that is some good torque. It's a little bit more than you can do with a handheld or a driver. Bang! Boom! Okay, so if you got the Honcho, you're planning on putting the Pro Line faces on, and you don't got the means to sand the backs down and get the shorter hardware, and you don't want to do that, then throw some TSLs or the BFG tires on that Axial has out for the trucks already, or just keep your Wild Peaks on the stock wheels for now. I am sure that Axial will come up with a new back piece that will correct this for them. They just, obviously this problem with this tire only has just come up. Yeah, so that's about it, guys. I'm going to put these on the truck. Stay tuned, back in like 2 seconds here. Let's see if these hold up. Okay, so we just threw that back corner on right there. I locked it down. I held the rubber just with my fingertips, gripped it hard, gave her a good crank, see if it's going to slip, and it didn't spin. That should be good enough. Did that turn?
No.
No way.
Just stretching. Turn.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that mod will fix that for you guys. Sucks, but so yeah, if you don't got a belt sander, don't get into that. Just opt out on these rims for now until Axial comes up with a update for that. Check the Axial SCX6 forum or even their website. They might put updated for the Wild Peaks or something in the description for it. So okay, guys, it's been a few days, few seconds for you guys, few days in the real world, but we've had the mailman show up and he brought us a fantastic RS 2500 V2 servo from NSDRC. Be sure to check out No Superior Designs RC, you guys. Fantastic products. We had also purchased the 1/5 scale monster horns, or horn if you would. They have 2 different lengths. We measured the stock length of the Axial SCX6, which is the shorter one. It's a shorter one, right? I think it was. Yeah, there's a shorter one. Went with that one. It's decent. It's huge. It's beefy. It's going to be perfect to go with the 2,500 ounces. The stock horn is a cast or sintered metal unit. it will crumble under that kind of load. Already they're starting to show a little bit of slop on the splines with just the S9 120BL servos that Jesse and I are running in the other trucks. This guy, however, is still factory, but before we decided to put that in, we had ordered their inline power tap from NSDRC. It's a IC5 connector, the I for the intelligent portion of it. You got the pin in the middle, which is a pass-through. Hook that between your battery. One time, plug that in. We'll leave that there forever. We'll mount that into the truck. You have two JST male connectors coming off of there. That one is now going to run directly to our powered servo, because we're running this guy right off the 3S battery at 12.6 ounces. So that, or 12.6 volts, which will give us 2,175 ounces with the maximum, actually 2,650 ounces at 16.8. So we've seen this thing on the dyno that he runs on his YouTube, pushing constantly over what it's rated at, and that's always great to see. So very excited. We waited a while to get this. We did the pre-order, just came out, and then we had to wait an extra week because Canada and shipping. Anyhow, we had also now picked up another Power Hobby product. So we picked up this Power Hobbies aluminum servo mount. I believe this guy is going to kind of tuck underneath, and then you screw down into it, and this guy mounts up in the original position, and it is adjustable, so we can change the size for different size servos. So yeah, in the small position it would fit the stock Spectrum, and we're gonna have to go to the full position for this big boy here. So pretty basic. Let's give this guy a quick little test run, show you how slow it is and rather weak, but it holds up, it gets the job done. We can't fully bash the servo. Do not run a BEC to it. Jesse ran a BEC to his, and it ate the gears in about, what, 2 minutes? It was
3 minutes.
Yeah, and I was like, oh dang. Keep it underpowered, it will hold up longer. Yes, it's underpowered, but it's gonna last you for a bit. It's weak, but it holds up. It gets hot and gets tired, but it keeps on going for a bit. So everybody complains about it. It's not terrible. Like I've had worse factories. So let's test that for you guys real quick, and then we're gonna jump out, throw this guy in, pop back in with another comparison. What's this all about? Stock servo's not terrible, gets a lot of hate. Biggest problem is the stock upper panhard mount. You can see it flexing. See it again? See it? See how I'm mashing in there? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Do a wide turn. Oh,
that's mashed. It's more a problem with this than it is anything else. As you can see, the servo's turning, but that link's mushing. So we are also going to need to put a set of aluminum shock towers. We should have bought one. We were at Eliminator today, Jess.
We forgot.
Yeah, guess what? There's Saturday though. We can get that done Saturday. So we're gonna have to change out the shock towers, but you guys can see it's not bad. The stock servo's walking around up in there, looking like it's already gonna want to rip itself out. Twisting. Things to check on your trucks, guys. Remember, they are just put together production style to get them out the door. So there you go. Not bad. You know, if you're climbing and stuff, you know, no weight. It's gonna get the job done. Anyhow. Okay, as always, the drama continues. These Power Hobby mounts, same as the Trio, all that other stuff, what they don't tell you is you gotta cut the stumps down on the back of the stock mount that fit into these little holes here. This guy saddles down on the post. They tried to do that, so it's taking off the shear load on the screw. It's still plastic, it's not gonna work. Or they should did a little bit different, whatever, that's not our problem. Anyhow, Power Hobby mount, once you get that down, the front half hooks underneath the frame, the back half sits on top. So you go kind of down through the hole and hook it like so. Like that. and then bolt that in the rear, and then we'll put our servo in. The servo screws will pass through the plastic into the aluminum, so we'll put a little bit of Loctite into the aluminum holes before we pass that through. They won't back out as they are in the plastic as kind of a nylock or whatnot, but yeah, there you go. That's how that's done. We looked a few places online, and it was very vague. Guys are chopping it up. Guys are saying this servo don't fit, that servo. Quiet. This servo don't fit, that servo don't fit. But speaking of servos, oh no, 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 no! I need a warranty on that thing. It's so apart. Let's take a look at our NSD-RC. Let's take a look at our NSD-RC 2500 version 2. The version 2 is a lot faster than version 1. Now this is our first NSD-RC servo. We've been following Mike Superior on all his Facebook groups and pages that we're on, interacting with and such, and fantastic products. I have just ordered a bunch for our next Phoenix straight axle build. Mine, Jesse's working on his. Jesse's got some on order for his too. We're gonna get another one of these for my Jeep, another one for Jesse's Jeep, and just kind of keep these things rolling. The price point on these is like $250 US and 2,500 ounces. Yeah, so 2,500 ounces of torque, you guys. That is running at 16.8 volt. We are going to be running this guy direct power to the truck at 12.6, and that is going to give us 2,175 ounces of torque. We've got that big beefy horn we showed you earlier. Fantastic, fantastic. She's going to be beefy. What else we got in the package? Should be a screw to put the servo horn on. And oh wow, a GST connector to actually hook into the truck. But we bought that power tap thing so we can just toss that right in, and some nice mounting hardware. Let's get this finished. Okay guys, we have that big bad boy NSD-RC 2500 RS version 2 in there. As you notice, we had to go back to our OG DX5C radio. Our ruggeds are hooped. Jesse and I got to send them into Spectrum for some warranty work. Things happen with updates we've had to do with the Traxxas radios and such, so whatever. They're going back in, we get that fixed. Luckily, we keep our old crap, so we got this radio. But check out the servo. Now, one more part I picked up today when I was at Eliminator RC are the front aluminum shock towers, because the whole time I'm cranking on this, the front panhard mount looks like it wants to leave the chat. So put your weight on it. Look at that. Oh yeah. That servo is going to be a godsend. She's going to be throwing around this truck no problem out there for a long time to come. So we got to get that panhard changed, because every time I let go of the front end, it's in a different position wherever that panhard bends and flexes to. But besides that, guys, we're going to get this guy out on the trail. Jesse and I will be out doing some trailing tomorrow, so we'll have another trailing video of these big pigs next week for you. See you guys on the next one? Or see you later. I don't know. We'll see you guys on the next one.